Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum-bum. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
What's up?
What's up, man? How's everybody week going and stuff there?
Oh, not too bad over here.
Not too bad. Not too bad. You know, the weather's been good. It just rained a little bit yesterday here. But you know, it's holding out. It's been pretty warm in the 757.
Oh man, you guys must be. I don't know how this happened, but we have the worst weather ever right now in the Bay Area.
What's up over there?
Yeah, they got a big, what they call it, it's a bomb cyclone or something like that.
Oh yeah, the impact from Seattle.
Pineapple Express, all these cool names for water.
That's wild.
In the world.
Yeah. You hear my Philly coming out, my water.
And I know some friends over there in Seattle. They lost power for a while and stuff over there.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, hopefully, you know, everything's back and moving and stuff on their end for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we haven't got no. I mean, South Florida. So you know, you haven't got any. You know, you haven't got any random, you know, type of. The most you're gonna get is a breeze off the water. You know, that's most you're gonna get over stuff over here. You know, any snow or anything stuff. But yeah. Yes. Welcome, man. Welcome. This podcast right here, man, is AI with Friends. This was just kind of started by us. You know, essentially, we've been having these conversations probably about a year or plus now, even before we decided to start the podcast. But we've kind of been having these conversations in private. We've kind of been discussing some of the things that we're seeing here in the this AI centric universe and stuff that we're building. You know, and so we had like weekly calls. We just kind of talk about and sharing resources and knowledge and things like that. And then one day, somebody said, "This is probably useful, you know, useful for the rest of the world and everything." And so, so we decided to kind of create a podcast and everything and share some of these knowledge and resources and with you guys. I mean, we are a group of builders, engineers, practitioners, myself, and you know, through Resolve, we've been building some of these solutions for quite some time. You know, underneath this AI umbrella and stuff and everything. And so, man, so they have you guys here and everything. Got ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's kick it off. Sekou, man, you had a pretty adventurous last week, you know, or so, at a very large and well-known conference and stuff there, man. Definitely love to hear your experience and stuff and what you kind of got from there.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, last week I was at attended Afrotech. I was very fortunate to get down to Houston. Actually, this time around, because I went to the last Afrotech in Austin by myself. My wife came down with me, so it was like it was so much better. It's so much better in that capacity. Met a lot of engineers out there. Engineers with like just specialties all over the place. The one, of course, I was, you know, I'm a cloud engineer. I'm always excited when someone has a skill set that's aligned to mine, and it's still, I don't know if it's kind of niche still, right? But at least someone to have like deep experience in it. So yeah, I met a good amount of folks out there that had like skill sets around that area, and that was super exciting.
Were they like working for major companies?
Yeah, they work for pretty big companies. Was it New York Times, and there are a couple different organizations that folks were doing this work for. But the challenge is, right, with having depth in these particular skill sets, there's a lot of things that, you know, you can go to maybe a boot camp for to like know how to use some of the technologies, but to actually be seasoned in there, like, you know, the cloud world really started in like 2008, right? So the years of depth that you can get within that field, there's not a lot of folks can say that they've been there for that whole duration, but I definitely found some folks. Yeah.
So that reminds me of a story about Prince. Prince couldn't like talk to other people because of this, like when it came to music. So you had to be a real music head. You had to be a real gearhead in order to really get him amped about talking about music. He was such a technical guy that kind of, I guess it's lonely at the top. Of
Yeah.
a specialization.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, because that's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, look, I can say all my words now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Prince got to the point where he wouldn't collab with artists if they didn't own their what's it called? Not the rights.
They're publishing their rights.
They're masters. They're masters. Yeah, they didn't own their
Masters.
masters. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the next level. Like, you have to be a certain pedigree to have a conversation with me. I'm not there yet. Not there yet.
For sure.
Give me some time. But as far as the rest of the conference, it was pretty amazing to see so many folks that look like us in one place. You go to your offices and you go to your jobs, and you go to like these other tech events, like KubeCon was actually happening at the same time, and you'll see maybe like one or two of us within there. But to see just a sea of folks that look like us, that's the amazing part of Afrotech, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, the other reason it was, I'm not going to go too long on this, but the other reason why it was exciting is, when you go to an event like that, there's two different agendas that are happening. There's the agenda, folks are trying to get a job, maybe three. There's folks trying to get a job, right? There's definitely like that is in the air during the daytime. And then there are, learnings that are happening, which there were some pretty good ones. There was a talk that someone did on Gemini and how you can like integrate it into your life. And they ended up showing me some things that I didn't expect to see at a conference like that. Usually they're super like high level, but this one actually went down into the weeds, where a place where I could appreciate, which I thought was pretty dope. But then,
you were talking about that. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I learned about Gemini gems, which is like equivalent to Chat GPTs, which is awesome. And then the last one, the last reason people go, of course, is to find their match, to find love in Afrotech. And oh man, it's better to bring your spouse. I tell you that. Better to bring because like your ability to like have normal conversations with folks just increases tremendously when you're with someone. So
for sure. Now, your wife is she in tech too?
No, she's in a nonprofit space, but she's just interested in what's going on, and
so she can roll with the conversations and stuff. Like she's game.
Yeah. It's so funny. We did go to one talk. She was like, I don't know if we need to sit to this. You can just tell me all this at home.
Like, it sounds better when you tell me.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do want to throw in there a topic and stuff, that relates to Afrotech. So one topic that I feel like we've been kind of discussing privately, I don't think we've actually talked about it publicly. And that topic is the current job market. And stuff. And so, we've all been, doing our research. We've all, at some degree might have been impacted and stuff, from it and everything. Coming from Afrotech, what's some of the signals that you see that where the current job market is, and then potentially, hopefully, you moving forward?
Yeah, job wise, it was very different. So I've went to 3 Afrotechs at this point. I went to the one in Oakland, which I think was maybe the first or second. That one in Austin, and then this one. This is a really different situation. Usually you have a lot of students that are trying to get their first tech job, and that's always a little bit of a barrier when compared to other parts of your job hunting, right? This time, there were so many people impacted, and usually a lot of the companies that I've like walked over and kind of talked to, they shared like a very similar sentiment that like, there's just not a lot of jobs that are being offered right now. And you're at a place that's almost like a career fair with like a very low inventory situation. So folks are trying to make their best impressions, hoping that there's some edge that they can get from being in the conference and things like that. And it's just it's a little challenging because there's only it's not like before, in the before days. Companies would hire just to get people, just to be competitive, just to say that they're just stocking up on engineers so that they can have a competitive edge over their rivals. Or as projects, they know that they're going to have more projects in the future, so they can just have backlog engineers on staff. And it feels like that world is kind of shifted away, right? So now we're at a place where unless there's like, it's back to like, maybe classic, business practices here where if there's not budget for it that's already assigned, like the positions are not being like available for folks and things like that. And that's a big shift. So we've definitely changed the equation where it was many open jobs to a few amount of engineers to a smaller amount of jobs and a whole lot of engineers that want the positions. So it was packed. Like it was definitely bigger than the Austin one and definitely bigger than the Oakland one. As far as like attendees that I saw out there. So yeah.
Interesting. I remember when I graduated, I was like, I had no I had no fear of like that being an issue. I was in networking, and I mean that's the type of stuff that'll really give you the chills when you're trying to get established. So wishing everyone the best out there for real.
That's a little backstory about me. That's actually part of the reason I moved to the Bay Area. Is when I was working on the West Coast where tech was more of an accessory to the jobs and industries that are out there. Sorry, I was working the East Coast. Tech was more of an accessory to the jobs out there. Like financial institutions would have a IT department or engineering department, but they're very small, and those positions are rarely vacated over there. So there was always like that squeeze over there. And when I moved to the West Coast, specifically, like I realized, oh man, there are so many more jobs out there. There's like I really had the ability to like choose the different companies I would go for based off of like ideals that I did not have access to on the East Coast there. And that was a really huge feature for me for being out here, was to be able to do that. Now, as a senior staff engineer, like I don't have it's not the same situation compared to where other folks are right now in other places, but still, it's still a different world. So I definitely, folks out there are still out there trying to pushing through, like just keep going.
Let me ask you this. In your opinion, with the current job market and stuff stands, and you definitely gave one angle. How much do you think or believe that real automation and AI has really impacted jobs, if any?
So that is actually, I feel like connected to, I feel like there's an article on this, but I think that is actually connected to part of this challenge that we have right now, which is, companies are, there's definitely layoffs that you're seeing that are happening. And a lot of the layoffs it's almost like how the market works, where the market is like making moves that represent where they want to be, what they think things are going to be in the next.
Not where they actually are. Yeah.
Not where they actually are. Because the actual AI products are actually not there. They're not actually bringing in revenue with the AI products yet. But they're seeing, like folks are seeing at least enough evidence that within a certain amount of time, that some of these, they would need less jobs for them. So it makes this is a little bit of a gamble, though, for a lot of, I feel like a lot of companies are taking. And through that gambling, that is where this job shedding is happening. But I think when we talk about some of the other like advances that are happening in the AI field, you know, ideally AI is going to augment our world, right? And as the scales go down, like actually we just saw that was it Salesforce is like going on a hiring spree right now, like, which is crazy because they just went through this shedding of jobs. Now they're going on a hiring spree specifically to tool up for the AI work that's going to need to happen. Which is this is the expected curve,
Yeah.
So the folks looking into like when are things to be open, like I feel like next year is going to be, this is really to make a break because everyone has shedded jobs specifically to make sure 2025, it feels like, will be able to be a place where they can really push, and they need head count to do that. So
yeah, I think exactly what you just said is like it's a gamble, and it's a prediction of like what they think things and stuff can be. With the I would say this very loosely, or well, I would say with the ego of of how they think they can control the outcome as well,
Yeah.
like a year plus forward. So an example of that is what we saw from the airlines companies during the top of the pandemic, where the airlines companies did these waves of layoffs, even in the midst of getting government funding, so to help them, assist in that process. And they was doing these waves of layoffs and everything. And then when things shifted back into play, they were canceling flights, if it happened. And then they had the nerve to say that, oh, people don't want to work. People, our employees are holding us back and everything. And I, unfortunately, just think, across the board, you just have, egotistical leadership and stuff in these areas with individuals who don't understand the build, the knowledge and everything, and the input of a tool like artificial intelligence. So you're simply making guesses and gambles while you're impacting people's lives and everything, and then you're just kind of like moving on, writing your notes and writing your scripts and making your tweets and stuff like that, as if you're not accountable and stuff into these areas. And I think this has happened across the board in so many factors and everything. I particularly know one large company who I had the privilege of talking to some of their CTOs and leadership, and had a great understanding that, oh, actually, they don't really understand how this thing is moving, but yet they did layoffs because they said their staff and their employees, they're not grasping it enough and everything, and you don't even fully understand it, and stuff. And so with that, I think it's opportunities like this and this podcast and everything is why we here and everything, to kind of help bridge the gap and everything, not only for the builders and stuff in the world, but also too for you, quote unquote, leaders moving forward.
And one thing I want to add too is that there's always been this disconnect between the upper management and just technology, as far as I know. So the upper management, Sekou, I know that your early bosses probably couldn't even type. You know what I mean? Like, as far as the top of the whoever's running the company was like, look, I'm paper and pad, dog. Like, I'm not even going to use it.
Sekou is not that old, bro. Like,
hey,
I've been there.
I'm that old. I'm that old. You know what I mean? I'm that old. My bosses, if you look at like the person who was running the companies that I worked for, because I never worked for tech companies. I worked for, I worked tech at companies, which is a real point I want to get to later in our conversations. But the person at the top was so disconnected from technology. Their focus was on really everything else, maybe but that part. And what they wanted was for it to just work and them to not have to like worry about it. But when it comes to, how these same people are making the decisions about hiring and how AI is going to enable them to maybe hire less people and things like that, it really is like it's a lot of hope And
fake it till you
but
make
just
it.
that fake it till you make it, but like it really is evidence of that. That's like kind of historical disconnect that I see between them not knowing how like not precise that this dealing with language models can be, how it can hallucinate and not really give you what you need every time. The lack of consistency, that like it's like a story as old as time to me, because they're not using it, they're not seeing it, so they're like, oh, if it works, let's do it.
Sekou, I'm not sure if I ever told you this directly. I know for sure I didn't tell you this publicly. There was a statement that you made to me a while ago, which really made me lean all the way into entrepreneurship. You said, this had to probably be like a year and a half ago or so. You said, Marlon, you're so early into this thing, and you're doing these things, and you're building these things, but you're also applying for jobs where majority of the world is still trying to figure this out. Also, the majority of the people who are still trying to figure this out are also doing the interviewing. What makes you think they're going to know what to look for, and understand, like how to like bring this thing together? And that connected so well in my mind. I was like, yeah, it's time to shift. I can't wait. I can't wait till they figure it out, or till they, kind of, put their, their vision board together, and okay, we need this type of, all the different things like that. And then when you said that to me, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's time to shift.
In the world where no one is expert, you are the expert. So,
yeah, so yeah, the level playing field, yeah.
So here, so check this out. A lot of people has called 2025, you probably could say 2024, as well as the year of the agents. And so as of lately, it seems like a lot of enterprises, big businesses, big tech companies are pushing more towards the agent framework. And so says AI agents are transforming businesses by turning data into actionable items. It says at Microsoft Ignite, the tech giant unveiled a no-code, low-code capabilities in Microsoft 365 Copilot, allowing users to build and deploy custom agents. Also, too, with that, Nvidia just announced their Nvidia AI platform called Nvidia Nemo Microservices, providing the ability to manage and access data efficiently with building agentic AI applications on top of it. These agents now have the ability, along with Microsoft, they just now have the ability to tap into things like Azure's AI catalog, 1,800 plus models. Nvidia also highlights the potential of AI agents through tools like RAG and Nemo, emphasizing how AI learns and improves via with data on the fly. So the goal here, we're trying to figure this out. Is the goal to make AI tools efficiently and make it easy to deploy for large enterprises, for individuals. Adrian, man, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts?
Well, first I'm going to start with a question, and like this is for the like audience. And my question is, what's the difference? Because you've heard this agent conversation, but we've also heard the assistant, the assistant conversation. So what is the difference between an AI agent and an AI assistant? And when I look up the definition here, it says AI assistants are reactive, performing tasks at your requests. AI agents are proactive, working autonomously to achieve a specific goal by any means at their disposal. So I think that the short of it, just for the audience, is that AI agents are going to be working just more independently, and rather than like message response, it's like message will do a bunch of work and then get back to, and then return the results back to you. I think if that makes sense to everyone. So I think that the AI agent discussion is interesting because Marlon, I was talking to you years ago when we first started our working with LangChain, and I think that both of us knew right away that this is going to be the way to go when it comes to dealing with AI, because the regular chat GPT model or just chatbot way that really everyone was really using it, where everyone had a chatbot 4 years ago, and it's going to be this big huge deal. What we saw is the potential in really tasking specific AI agents with like and giving them a specialization and having them work together to return your results properly. And I was like, I remember just my mind being blown, like, oh my God, this changes everything. This completely changes everything, because now LangChain was like rough for your boy, because your boy was not a Python head like he is now. So, JavaScript head. So I got to learn Python in order to deal with this. So it was rough getting started. But at the end of it, I had a Slack bot, it could download reports for me and give me little totals and everything like that. And it was cool. So what I want to say is how what I find interesting is, to the new people coming into the tech industry now, I believe that because of how really sticky the agents seem to be, is that we could be on the cusp of a kind of shift in how tech is done within organizations. And for lack of better terms, and what I mean is that if you come in with the skills of AI orchestration, you may be able to better join the workflow of a company. But you need to have those hard skills. You need to have your basic programming fundamentals down. That's a given. But the person that's doing the legwork in a lot of these companies may be AI agents. So it may be up to you and to appropriately manage that in order to manage whatever KPIs and benchmarks and whatever product that you're trying to build. So that makes it a little bit different. That makes things a little bit different, because as these frameworks are built, what I believe is going to be needed if we stay on the agent conversation is the proper management and tracking of the chain. Like, you may need to be a micromanager of the agents. You know what I mean? So proper logging, proper output. The output that this agent gave this agent needs to be able to be audited so that we cannot make the same mistake again. And in doing that, with retraining, you can start to have a super duper improved system internally that for the company or a system that you are building. So I find it interesting, but that's my takeaway. That's my takeaway about the agent conversation.
Yeah.
Sekou?
Yeah, you know what? So interesting. Remember we talked about this. I feel like it was like last year, because all this stuff was like kind of building up, and we are like, "Hey, is LangChain the thing? Should we be investing our time making sure that we're deep into LangChain?" I'm like, I think
the thing that you said we need a framework, a React type framework, for Gen AI.
Yeah, which meant like, anything you're doing as far as frameworks, it's just hobbyist work, right? Just put in that category of just understanding some of the common components that may appear in other frameworks or things that come. And I think they it was LangChain, then there was Auto GPT, right? Yep. And then I think there was maybe something else that was in between there that was kind of working towards some of these things, but everything is very bespoke. I think now, I'm not saying that we're at like our React moment with frameworks, but this is really well integrated. Like I was going through it last night, and I was like, wow, okay, they got training inside of here. Looks like it's pretty easy. They already show you how to integrate it into like your.
Are we talking about Gemini?
We're talking about the this is for the Nemo framework that
Nvidia.
Nvidia put together.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like I feel like this framework, like, no, it just makes a lot of sense. And the fact that it has already integration and shows you exactly how to connect it to your pipelines and things like that. That is a level of completeness that you want from a framework. And the documentation is pretty dang good. So I'm going to take some time and try to play around with this as much as I can. I think the only thing is like Nvidia, I don't know, this is my opinion, of course. Nvidia creates a lot of great like tools and things like that. Rarely do they actually catch on to a point where companies are like fully integrating them into things. Sometimes they give you inspiration, right? They give lots of good inspiration out there. I'm sure there's like some
this is what you could do. And the fact that they have there's an enterprise version of Nemo, I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if this is gonna hit the mark. The fact that you're open coring it from the gate here. Anyone that's not familiar with open core, that's when you provide a partial product and you leave the other part. You provide partial component of your product as open source. But in order for it actually to be useful in any meaningful way, you have to buy the enterprise version of it. And I have to dig a little deeper, but the fact that I see both of those things released at the same time, and they didn't mention the difference, means like they want you to get this enterprise thing that has some dollars attached to it. So yeah,
we'll see. But the framework discussion, I'm super excited about, and as far as like agents go, like it definitely feels like that's what we're doing right now is we're trying to minimize the amount of hallucinations, right? Ideally, if the models are good enough to be able to go through all of the flows in one monolithic way, that would be technically ideal and cheaper to put together, right? But being able to like handle hallucination, adding different contexts that are completely dispersed from each other within a single model and getting it right 100% of the time is super challenging. So the idea is have an agent that's only trained on one corpus of information, or just look at one corpus of information, right? And have it just do the one task. Rather than have it switch content to be like, say, a trust and safety agent or trust and safety function, like give that to another agent to do that. But it's really just, we're really just engineering around a problem space that is currently inherent in our models. So this is a spot that you still kind of need to be careful about, because if someone actually fixes that, it makes it so you can do that in one monolithic, run, then like there's no why are agents existing if that's the case?
Yeah, that's true. Right? That's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
So you got to be careful with this one, but. Yeah,
but will the worm eat itself though? Like, say, like, okay, we train the models so they're smart as the agents. Can we turn those models into agents that'll be super smart at their specific, thing? You know what I mean? So now you give them a car and they're like Tony Stark with it all of a sudden, because, who knows?
Hey, exactly. Well, we don't know. This is everything is new. Everyone's an expert right now. I guess everyone is an expert when it comes to at least this part of it of AI. So
Tony Stark built this in a cave with some scraps. Speaking of scraps, no, this too. It's okay. So it was super exciting to see what Nvidia announced everything, it was also super frustrating. And this is a terrible like drawing and everything. But I was talking to a client and I drew out how like that world is going to work and everything with the agents, with a baseline of like knowledge bases and agent stuff would be built on top of it, and stuff. And then a few days later, Nvidia is like, "Thank you, we'll take it from here." And so like yeah, what essentially kind of like what they announced and everything with Nemo is the baseline is like essentially a knowledge base in compartments, and so in those compartments and everything you can have specialized LLMs or anything, you can have fine tuning, you can have documents, you can have essentially like a RAG application that can do fine tuning, that can get specific guardrails, instructions, and pipelines on how to perform the task. And then on top of that, you build voice agents, chat agents, ability to email, write, multi-model, stuff aspect, and you do that per job category, segment of business, and then so across you have this whole infrastructure and stuff, if you will, that you can essentially kind of build on top of and everything. And so the more tasks and everything, it gets more tasks and stuff. It learns everything. You kind of put that back, essentially kind of like in the foundation, of the knowledge base. And so that enterprise framework, if you will, is kind of what, Nvidia stuff announced and stuff there, which is I think what you said, too, Sekou, is just like, it's inspiration. I mean, right now, isn't Nvidia like the most valuable company in the world now? Something like that. Like,
I'm pretty sure they are at this point.
Yeah. So like, I think they're playing with house money, so they're just trying stuff,
Why not?
and stuff, and stuff, and so yeah, I think it is inspiration. I think it's a step forward, and stuff of how this world is going to work, not only for us as employees or business owners, but also too how we interact on a consumer level, too as well. So the ability to have a customer service agent that has a log of your past 16 calls, and it knows exactly kind of like your use case and what you're dealing with, and understanding your profile and what you need. Maybe you still keep dealing with the same issue, so then it knows to escalate it, things like that, instead of like kind of consistently going through a chat bot and stuff where it may be, that has just like a step-by-step operations of just like how to respond and everything. I mean, I think this gets very creative, it gets very detailed, and it gets very specific, everything to every individual use case. And I think this is like, for guys, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, 2-3 years of like, this is kind of like where things are headed. And it's like now it's like, okay, here's the framework, here's the playbook, if you will. Let's see if you guys can put it together. And stuff. And so I also believe that it's still gonna be some time. There's still gonna be some time to really kind of put this infrastructure together well, as well. But like also too, Adrian, what you said, I said this quite some time ago as well, is that we're gonna come to a world where everybody's gonna have an agent, at their hip. You're gonna have, when you accept a new role, you're gonna have an agent assigned to you, that is going to help you in like with your job. And so essentially what we've seen for software engineers is that we've seen productivity skyrocket, through the roof and everything, to help generate, code, and stuff as well. And I think we're going to start to see that across multiple different other functions and categories and responsibilities and stuff there. And so I think that's going to be like the same, kind of like process. It's just where, agents are going to get assigned per individual, per role, to kind of help them do their job faster, quicker, better underneath the guidelines of said company. And yeah, I think that's where we're headed.
Unless, because there may be, because this goes back to our snitching conversation. This goes back to the snitching conversation, so
shirt's coming soon.
You know what I mean? Where's Ronnie at? You asking the agent, the agent's, be nice to your agent, like take it out for a drink, maybe, or somehow virtually. I don't know how you would do that, but it's also a narc.
Feed it tokens.
Just know that. Feed it tokens. Because that's what it'll say back to your boss. How many tokens you got? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right with that. I think some companies will take advantage of that, as well. It's the same thing of, hey, we would love anonymous feedback to how we're doing, as a company, and stuff. And, and it's like all of a sudden now you're in some situation like, wait, I thought this was anonymous and everything. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I do think some companies are going to take advantage of that, as well. And so, I think you're exactly right.
Yeah, I hope not, but company's gonna company.
Yeah.
So there's a large area for companies, and that particularly has been on the headlines of seeing if AI is going to impact their life, impact their role, and essentially, Ben Affleck doesn't think so. Ben Affleck has told Hollywood that he's expressed concerns around AI replacing jobs, but Ben Affleck assures actors and writers that AI isn't close to replacing human creativity. Speaking to CNBC, Affleck explained how AI can mimic, but not innovate, noting that movies are likely to be one of the last domains affected. He believes AI could create more opportunities in the film industry through visual aspects. Professionals, might see challenges and stuff. And so, Sekou, we'll start with you from this one. Let's start with you because I'm still mad at him at Daredevil. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. Ben Affleck's not. I don't know. He's not that person I look to as an expert for the state of things. That's like the first thing, right?
Yeah.
He's looking at it from the surface level. I think we're definitely gonna go through. We have this. I feel like there's some stages to this, right? Where AI itself is going. We talked about augmenting as software engineers, right? And for Hollywood, of course, it's going to be they're going to go for all the things that they know are expensive, but AI can easily do, right? So maybe there won't be creativity, right? But like there are a lot of jobs between, doing the creative work and just reading something that someone who's creative wrote down on paper and just putting on the screen there, right? And question is the actor the place where creativity is, or is it the person who writes the script?
Oh, yeah, I say both.
Both, right?
Yeah.
So if you're able to, I give you an example, like you have extras, right? To be an extra, do you think that takes creativity to be an extra in the background?
There's been some great extras, but we don't know their names.
Hey,
so you're following instructions.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can just imagine that, right? Just imagine your extras. Extras are now, from now on, they're all AI generated. Right. That's a lot of jobs. A lot of folks, they like get their was it, what do they call this?
SAG card?
Their SAG card. They like, as long as you like do something, you can get your health benefits and stuff like that. Just take a job, just being an extra. Just to make sure, hey, I did some work. I want to make sure I keep my health benefits good to go. Right. Like those things are under threat, right? I think what he's trying to say is that my job is okay. Is what Ben my job is cool. I don't have to worry about that. So
I'm in the top 1% here.
Exactly. My helicopter just landed on the roof. I gotta go, but
Yeah. But the folks on Tubi, I'm not sure about how it's gonna work out. The Tubi actors. So Like if you can do these 2B segments with AI and get the same amount of quality or clicks out of it, then I'm think folks will probably end up trying to opt for that. So there's I feel like a real threat over here. I wouldn't let Ben Affleck try to calm you down sitting up there as like the 1% of the actors. Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. Yeah. I think it's an irresponsible statement. The first I'll say this. The first application I built, integrating AI, and I was so excited by it. I remember I think I called Adrian as soon as I hit compile. Because I was like, oh my God, this works. And I started reading the results. I was like, wait, this works really well. And so the first application I built was an AI grant writer. Since then I've been doing, a lot of building and integrating. And so I've been using everything for, some of my presentations, program management, obviously, development work. So we'll take code and we'll take grant writing. Those are two forms of creative writing.
Mm-hmm.
Script writing is also a form of creative writing. And it's also, this is also too what was part of the, what was part of like the strike and stuff and everything with the actors stuff there. They didn't want that to come in and, just kind of like wipe them out, which I understand. But to state that it's not going to replace writers, I think it's a bold statement when it already has the capability to do so. Now unfortunately, you're now trying to figure out the politics side of it. But the capability of an LLM that is properly developed, I would automatically say on the API side, not on the website, that is properly developed, everything that has instructions and examples, 100% can write, a script. And I've been approached directly from a small movie production, company, and they was asking me, "It is possible?" And I was like, "Absolutely, 100%." Everything, because it's just all text. It's all text. You're not asking it to, recreate the, the 3D model of Optimus Prime, putting this stuff together from truck to, standing form. Like we're not asking for that. We're talking about the tech side of things. And so 100% doable, if that's alarming to say or not. Adrian?
Yep. So I got to disagree with the both of you. Like, I think he's spot on. He's spot on, actually. So what he's saying is that it can't do Shakespeare. So, and what he is saying overall in general is, don't be afraid, because this is not creative. What it is something that can summarize and contextualize and like mimic, but it's not going to be able to generate something that's going to be kind of, because when you think about and what he's talking about, I think overall is like just something that's art. If you have it, like a movie can be art. So like you can have a script that's a piece of art. The best scripts and movies, you hear the story behind them. There's such a storied experience behind every aspect. If you think of something like The Godfather, Al Pacino was bringing his life experience to the table. And you had this production that was going through all these different things. You think about The Shining. You think about how, like, basically Stanley Kubrick had to basically abuse this woman, you know what I mean? And terrorize her in order to get this performance that turned into this massive hit. You know what I mean? You think about like something like everything, Never Ending Story. Dog, I saw a documentary about Never Ending Story, man. They were wild up in there. Like
Really?
the fact, dude, it was the most unsafe, ridiculous, messed up situation. No one ever recovered. And I had no idea. Like,
wow.
it like kind of affected everyone. But like, yeah, it's insane. So I think that when I think of it, I think of these as the keystone pieces of art. These are the things that you feed into AI to get something that it could be as good as that. If with kind of the way that the world is, I don't see. I see someone maybe guiding AI through. AI assisted. You can create something, but are we at the point of press the button and you're going to give me something groundbreaking? No. And that's what he's saying.
I see where you're going with that. I see where you're going. I think the challenge is like, the writing a script for The Shining, right? Very complex, multiple levels of like emotion and things like that you have to draw upon in order to make something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And the book first, because it was a book first, and then that,
and the book first.
So, yeah.
But writing the script for like a Colgate commercial or like a what you call it? It's not Colgate, like a toothpaste commercial or something like that, right? Different levels of effort, and actually is more of like a factory type of process to generate something like that, right? Those are, I think that's like the levels where like disruption. There's definitely a place where you can say like I'm a good sample. Like I'm a systems engineer by trade. Have lots of experience with 22 years over things that I've seen and reactions that I'm going to have just automatically because of my experience. That part is going to be very hard to recreate on the AI side, right? But like, the act of like writing some Terraform code, which is also part of my actual job, right? Like, oh yeah, that's a great place where automation is going to sit inside there. So, but there are folks that will they can have a job that all they do is write Terraform, and they're never asked about, the larger questions that need to get answered around how things should be constructed and what are the behaviors and things like that, right? So I guess that's what we're saying. Like, if you're on the mountain, you're great. This is a wonderful time for you. You can do even more, but there's definitely that layer underneath it where it feels like those are the people who are under like the 50% of that work. Like, those are the folks that I worry about in the conversation that we haven't figured out like an off ramp for them yet, right?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think what he's pointing to is the creative piece of that, the places where you create the emotion, tension, all these different things that are unique to human experience. I feel like, yeah, you're great. You're doing wonderful there. But like the extras, the extras in the background, like people get checks off of that. I know a lot of folks that they work in Hollywood and they they bartend and then they'll get a little extra gig on the side to get their check the box on their SAG card, get their health benefit, and they're good to go.
Good to re-up.
Yeah.
So watch this. I strongly disagree. I strongly disagree. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna walk you through a process. Adrian, who's your favorite, let's go, athlete of all time?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Who do you think influenced Bo Jackson?
The farm he grew up on. I don't know. Like I don't know what his influences were. Like what do you mean, like personally,
Jackie Robinson?
Or like professionally?
Professionally.
Yeah, like Jackie, like people who came before him. Yeah, like Jackie Robinson stuff. Yeah.
Okay, right. And so we'll say Jackie Robinson and everything.
Or like Willie Mays. Maybe Willie Mays came before him. That's it.
Willie Mays. Okay, beautiful. Everything. Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays and things like that. Okay, cool. Everything. Now, With that, those are influences, correct? Everything, and without those influence or anything, one could argue we might not have the full product of a Bo Jackson, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. On taking that example, and you're giving it influences, you're giving it people like, let's say like the recipe of a Willie Mays, a recipe. What was the other one you said?
What did we say? Jackie Robinson?
Yeah,
Jackie Robinson. Yeah.
Everything. You give them the recipe, stuff and everything. And so basically, you have somebody like Bo Jackson who is analyzing that recipe. And from that, it's taking certain segments of that recipe and is inputting, some of those principles into one's own life to kind of build out the framework of what we see as Bo Jackson. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That is exact same thing as few shot prompting.
But the GPT doesn't have a life.
No.
That's the piece that's like missing, is that whatever his influences were filtered through his life. The GPT does not have a life.
Watch this. Correct. We're talking about script writing. Script writing itself.
I know, but we're using something that's not script writing to talk about it. So
I'm just giving an example.
Example.
We're talking about script writing. We're talking about Shakespeare, which is text, which can be analyzed, which can be used as an example to build something new. It's the same thing we do as human beings. Everything.
No, it's not. I mean, dude, it's absolutely. It's one aspect of it. It's one aspect of it. Like, as human beings, we run across so many variables in our day-to-day lives that can give us a stroke of genius at any moment.
Oh yeah,
because it'll be something that triggers something, and it'll be a past memory, and then all of a sudden your whole life has like changed.
Correct,
like that.
Correct. Watch it. No, watch this. You're right. Now watch this. The output of that, of everything that you experience in your life, the output of that is simply paper and words.
We're talking about creating the paper and words.
Right. The output, the end result of that is a script, which is paper and words. Paper and words, everything in a large language model standpoint can be analyzed and it can be broken down and everything. Watch this. Without that person's, life experience and what impacted them, like this, like that. You're right on that and everything. But you can analyze everything from Shakespeare to your greatest movie and everything, and you can give it multiple examples to create something new. Everything. It's the same thing we do as human beings or anything on an LLM standpoint. Everything is just analyzing text. It's analyzing text. Is breaking down.
No. We're not disagreeing. We're not disagreeing about it creating something new. It'll create something new. But what I'm saying is the stretch of that creativity is going to be limited by the amount of data that it has access, or the data that it has access to.
Which is also why I think Ben Affleck's comment is even more irresponsible, because literally, if you're talking about Universal wants to build an AI script writer, they have all the data. Like, they have all the data. They just need to partner with the proper, technology to build a knowledge base.
Yeah, I implore them to just do it. I mean, like, because what I think is that and maybe it's like because I haven't seen it. Because I don't think that they can do it now.
We can build it over the weekend.
They can't build say if it were to create something that would have the impact like Toy Story did.
Toy Story.
Toy Story, it was like the animation and there was like other things to it. But let me just think. There's story wise that will have the impact culturally and be able to sell. And because what we're talking about at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is the creativity and like the quality of the end product. Is that end product going to, I can see something like lower level, kind of creative efforts, like a commercial or something like that. Yeah, sure. We can just throw something at, it, because what we're really worried about is getting eyes on our product and not about like the art creation part of it. All right.
Yeah.
So what I think is that, you know, you have to have those people that have their eye on the pulse of what's going on right now, in order to really be the one of the many X factors that separate really human potential from the potential of the language model in general. You know, it's our lives, it's all of these other variables that go into it that GPT just simply doesn't have, you know.
Watch this. There's probably nothing that can be said that will be able to convince me that the output of a LLM can write very well at a senior level a language like C, that it can't output a movie script.
Okay, Marlon, for the last time,
it's creative
the
writing.
LLM can output a movie script. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the movie script will not be Shakespeare changing, world changing level. It'll be derivative of whatever is in that set.
Yeah.
That's the argument. It will write a great, flawless screenplay. Like, it will do that, but that screenplay will not be on that caliber. I mean, on some caliber that's going to break. It'll be possibly on the caliber of Shakespeare, maybe not something that's going to break through to another kind of level culturally.
Watch this. I'm gonna combine what you just said with the next segment. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
The Beatles track Now and Then has been enhanced by AI. Has earned now Grammy nominations for Record of the Year and Best Rock Performance, using AI to restore a 1978 John Lennon demo. Paul McCartney brought a new life to the song. The track highlights how AI-based audio tools similar to noise filtering and video calls are reshaping music production. The big question: can nostalgia and iteration help the Beatles win against modern stars like Beyonce and Billie Eilish and everything? And boom, another creative example of an output, and stuff in there that can have human-like impact in this area. Now, you still need to give it directions, guidelines, examples, and all those things. But I am saying, in this example right here with the Beatles now having an AI assisted Grammy nomination and everything, one could argue Beatles may be on the same level as Shakespeare. Like, when you give it these examples, guidelines, proper prompting, and all these things like that, the results can mirror something like the creative writing of something like Shakespeare, Beethoven, and things like that and everything. It just doesn't replace the human, because there's no Shakespeare without the human Shakespeare and everything. But also too, if you hand Shakespeare and everything an AI generated script and everything, one might not be able to tell the difference and everything, because it's still the human being and stuff and everything. But again, with the scripting aspect and everything, if you bring actors to bring that script alive and everything that has been AI generated and everything, one might not still be able to tell the difference.
Okay. There's a couple points here. Number one, this is an AI assisted track. Okay, it's not an AI generated track.
Yeah.
So there's a human involved.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Number two, being in the music industry, the Grammy Awards, the Grammy nominations, that committee is a select group of people. So it's whatever agenda that they have going on that this is going to be doing a thing. You know what I mean? Because to me, and seeing, just what the music industry is doing with all the like label consolidation and layoffs and just like the crazy stuff that's happened, I think that their investment, which we talked about a couple podcasts ago, into all of these AI tools and out there, which is up to like, I think 6 or 7 different companies that they've invested in. or have deals
Universal
with.
invested into.
Universal is one of them, but some other labels have too, I think.
Well,
but
last
just
week
Universal
we talked about
specifically.
Universal. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this is just, to me, orchestrated by the people at the top as a soft rollout for a lot of AI stuff that is to come in the music industry.
Yeah, you know what? I think this is interesting though. This actually feels like it connects to our world that we've kind of talked about, like where, you know, AI's role, it feels like, at least right now, that we can actually put our finger on, is that it's going to augment us, right? Like the things that we, you know, we either don't want to do, or things that are small, are in a place where AI is going to help us and make us more productive, right? In this case, it did a bunch of like things with, like, you know, changing filters. It cleaned up the record. It applied knowledge that was already found somewhere else and just put it all toward this track at the same time, improving it and amping it up to its next level, right? The original part of this record that was created is still, you know, still there. All the creativity is still within the original songs and things like that were made, right? But it's the augmenting, I think, right now that's the story that I feel like I'm getting out of this. And it just, I don't know, it just solidifies more of the future that I think I'm seeing now. It's just I'm not a fear of AI taking well, at least my job. So, but there was someone that had to go and do those filter edits. There's someone who had to go and be like, should I do this tweak or do this tweak at some point in time, that this is now like they're taking, you know, took their jobs. So like, you know, I'm always trying to like, I want to like reconcile the two. Like, oh man, this just made these folks productive, and they've been able to, you know, make an achievement based off of this. But yeah, there's definitely a human aspect to everything, right?
You know,
so that's what I say with Ben Affleck, when it was Paul McCartney, like, yeah, they're good. The folks that are part of like the creative circle who can make things are great. The factory workers of these industries, those are the ones I think right now that, you know, we need to figure out like a off ramp for them, or a way that they can, you know, enhance themselves to be able to be even more productive, right? Because that it's a challenge. Yeah.
Because now that I think about it, that's probably the best people in the whole scene are the people in the factory parts of it. You know what I mean? The people that are doing like those types of tasks are like, you know, probably the salt of the earth of this, like compared to the creative team, which I just imagine is just, you know, in a room throwing around a tennis ball.
Whose role is that though? Is I believe that's an opportunity where the government can step in. But whose role is that? Is to do that soft landing, do that retraining?
Yeah. I guess it depends. Like government can do a lot of things at scale. It can start things at scale, right? It's not good at finishing them, right? It can get us to the moon, right? Like it do that, the big milestone, right? But if like companies, corporations would make it more long lasting. So I do think in this level of a change, before too much destruction happens within the different industries, that, you know, someone can at least definitely step in to like help with the retraining process. Because I think ideally the perfect solution, a perfect world would be everyone becomes a Ben Affleck now. Like everyone becomes that has a role that is assisted by AI and is able to flourish. And now we have more creatives, right, through this process. Like that would be the ideal situation, but really the reality, I feel like, is just gonna be consolidation, which is what we're gonna get to, is where there'll be few people who are not that they are the only people who can be creative, but are allowed to be creative. right? And there's
that part right there, allowed to be creative. Yeah, and
allowed
I mean,
to be
because
creative.
that's where you get the like clicky inner circle kind of,
Exactly. Even in the tech industry, in the tech industries, if you're not hiring junior engineers, you're never going to have a senior engineer, right? And right now, if that work is being disrupted, then who are going to be the next level of principal engineers that are going to be in our industry if you're not building them right now and you're destroying those jobs? It's not a good long-term plan for these industries to do that.
Yeah. Was that mentioned at Afrotech as far as the junior engineer conversation?
I don't think that actually came up. I think next time I should make sure that one of us are doing a talk at Afrotech to make sure these things are covered.
For sure.
I absolutely. I had preliminary conversations, but it didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
We'll try with AI with friends. See what happens.
Yeah,
sure. Come to a conference near you. So yeah, so two things. I think my biggest thing on that is that I don't like when people of influence, people that has a voice, make strong statements and predictions where they actually don't know what they're talking about, because you could literally put somebody who is, look up to you could put them in a level of safety when they need to be in a lane of offense. Like they need to figure out a way how to work with and be able to save their job and everything. And now you're putting like, oh, well, I got nothing to worry about. Okay, cool. Well, shoot, I'm chilling, everything. And that's just it's not okay, because I can guarantee you, if you want to believe this or not and everything, let Universal come write us a check. I can guarantee you we can build an AI movie writer and stuff, everything that will be an assistant to movie writers. And so when you get that, automatically you're probably going to cut half those jobs and everything, and then literally just have, if you have 50 writers, now you're going to have 25 writers to then just kind of prompt against it and just make edits into as you go along. I can guarantee you we can build that 100% and everything. And so I don't like when people make those, those stones, those strong statements and everything, because literally you could really be impacting somebody's life and somebody's, job and stuff there when you just don't know what you're talking about, and stuff in that area. And so I think that was my biggest thing, is just like, there's been so many individuals who come out and just, they read some headline, they saw something, on Forbes, they saw an Instagram comment, and it was
you just don't like Ben Affleck, dude. You still make about Daredevil, dude. Like, okay.
And another thing,
you're still mad about Daredevil, man. Like, I don't really, no, but like, I'm joking, but you are. You didn't like Batman. You didn't like man. I thought he was a decent
Batman coming after dang, what was his name right before him? Batman right before him.
Christian Bale.
Ben Affleck coming after Christian Bale? No.
Yeah, no.
That was him running into the fog, dog, when the Metro. When Superman, when it was going down and he ran in there to get that kid, dude, Christian Bale would never do that. Christian Bale would never done that, dog.
You don't perform behind Prince. You don't show up after Michael Jackson. Like, you don't do these things. Christian Bale, everything, arguably top 2 Batmans and everything. Ben Affleck is down on the list somewhere.
He's below Val Kilmer. He's below Val Kilmer?
I would put Lego Batman over.
Get out of here! Get out of here, man!
What about George Clooney Batman? Come on.
I'm going George Clooney.
That was my worst.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's hilarious. We're gonna have to. What's funny? I think we always end up finding ourselves talking about comic books to some degree. AI focused podcast.
I know. Every time.
If it's like be an analogy or something that we'll bring up, like, yeah, that was that one time Wolverine did,
That's hilarious. Okay, cool. Here, let's move forward here. So here we go. Google's model Gemini, it's a new experimental model. Gemini EXP1114 has outperformed OpenAI's GPT-4 Omni on a key AI benchmark, showcasing strength in mathematics, creative writing, and visual understanding. Despite its success, experts caution that current benchmarks may overemphasize superficial metrics, inflating performance scores. This raises broader questions about how AI capabilities should be evaluated for more meaningful progress rather than surface level optimization. Adrian, we'll start back with you. Do these benchmarks even matter in everything, even today, to the consumer? Is it something that we should be paying attention to?
All right. My theory is that this is a flex among the few at the top. So right now, this is basically Google's ability to be like, hey, OpenAI, we're just as good as you. You know what I mean? And we know that isn't going to equate, directly to dollars or something like that. But what it's going to say is that the tools that we're going to build on top of this will be just as capable, or not just as capable, because I don't think it match 4.0. So I mean, it will be just as capable as yours. This also communicates to the investors that, hey, so it's like, to me, it's like a little, like blowing the conch shell at like the top of the mountain where the rest of the people, like, just, hey, we're doing stuff. We're just as smart as you. We just need the, funding, or the continued funding of the people who like believe in us, and we're gonna make it happen. So it's a flex among the top people in the AI space, which is your OpenAI, Microsoft, Perplexity, Anthropic kind of thing. Menstrual, again, diminutive, not menstrual, Mistrals, not menstrual.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that's a great point, because Google has a habit of doing that. Like, they've consistently attacked Apple on how their phones are better. It's like we have these 1,000 features that people only use 10% of them on the everyday thing, but they have this continuously thing of just like how they're essentially. So I like that analogy. It's just like it's kind of a point and something that's the other, like we're better than you and everything and stuff in this in this area. I think it's also too, it's one of those things where I don't think it really matters to the consumer. I don't think it matters to the consumer. I don't care that your I don't care that your EV can charge faster than my Tesla or anything. One of the main reasons I got it, because of self-driving, in those areas. And as of right now, there's just no better, self-driving, vehicle right now than Tesla. And so it's just like, I don't think it matters to the consumer. I think it's definitely, inflated. I think it's like overemphasized. And I think when it comes down to it, I think it come back down to like principles of just like, brand, customer acquisition, and then just, how well can you get, your model to respond to, the user, things like that as well. But yeah, Sekou.
Yeah. Well, you have something to say, Adrian? Oh.
No.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, when I think about benchmarks in general and things like that, like we're way too early to be using benchmarks to like truly like measure what is truly the best in there, especially when you're at the tippy top here of the models, right? Because how you're ingesting things, how you've tuned the model can make it so you can clearly like cook the books here. Not that they're not accusing them of doing it, but like the fact that idea can even exist means like there's not like was it Sysmark or Sysmark, I think is one of the benchmarking tools out there. Like we need like true like an independent like testing consortiums that kind of help with some of this stuff here. Right.
You're
now,
absolutely right. Yeah, I never thought of that.
Because remember, was it? I'm trying to remember, what was it? Years and years and years ago. I think it was like it had to be like 2016 or 2017. I think Intel and AMD, of course, they're always like, challenging each other to see who has the fastest CPU and things like that. And there was an Intel, I think it was an Intel CPU that had like some amazing results. And AMD's, results were pretty poor on these particular benchmarks. And people were like, oh man, this CPU is terrible. Come to find out that Intel had an optimization that specifically boosted this particular benchmark built into the actual chipset there. So if you were to run
like a little nitrous can, dog, from Fast and the Furious,
pretty much, yeah, a little nitrous can in there, and next thing you know, it's like a big old giant scandal between the two. Like,
yeah,
I think we need to I would like to see better testing methods and actually maybe a independent body that we can look at for some of these, or at least like a company that's just focused on doing ethical testing and making sure that we're making sure this is real, because this is actually real. There's real dollars.
Well, that's what I think that the government should do. Could the government do that? I
don't think they are.
I mean, the testing, the benchmark. Like, could they be like? Maybe like a U.S. standard, or something like that.
No, like I do think the industry is probably a little bit better than government for some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like government is not like they don't scale when it comes to this type of like work. You look at like the the Linux foundations and things like that. The work that they do right now. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of there's a lot of work that can never be recreated in the government space there. To just take volunteers to like make sure that we're that have the depth in these spaces that can actually support stuff like this. And I think we just need something like that for testing. We're so early in this journey, right? So a lot of these thoughts are, we're just coming up with them, and we know the game plan though. We know what we need. So we'll see.
Yeah. I would like to just point out that we have officially, we're on our way, because now we've officially, in the midst of these AI topics, we've integrated DC conversations, Marvel, and now Fast and the Furious. Guys, we are on our way. Franchise. The big three.
Yeah. We're hitting our target demographics,
Exactly.
All right, cool. Here we go. Last one, guys. It says now, man, AI is starting to empower e-commerce. It says AI is revolutionizing shopping with tools like Perplexity and Google Lens. It says Perplexity now offers shopping recommendations and a one-click purchase directly within its search results, providing convenience and free shipping for pro users. Interesting. Meanwhile, Google Lens expands into its physical retail, letting shoppers compare prices and check inventory using their smartphone camera, powered by Google Shopping Graph and Gemini models. So these innovations aim to simplify online and in-store purchases. Adrian, we'll go back to you, man. What's your thoughts and stuff here? Now we got AI and shopping. I need those 11s that's coming out, and I'm using Perplexity to go get them.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna jump on this now. I'm gonna come in hot because this upsets me, because this is what I didn't want anyone to do yet.
Before you
they're doing it. They're doing it already. No. Because basically what they're doing is they're cracking the door into basically paid for results. In Perplexity results. So we know that now we can't do Google. Google took 20 years in order to basically go full Sith and just give us all ads. You know, it took a while. Right? Star Wars. Boom. Star Wars. All right. But it took a while. And I'm like, Perplexity, would y'all get started yesterday? You know what I mean? Like, it's been under 4 years. And already you're going to be crowding the search results with ads. Boo to this. Boo. There are so many other features that I demand that you roll out that will basically change the game when it comes to search, rather than giving me shopping suggestions before getting to what I need to get to. No, I'm not a fan of it. You know, that's first and foremost. I think now Google Lens, on the other hand, that's pretty cool. You know, I like that development there. But so Google, we're still cool. Perplexity, not. We'll talk later. We'll talk later. But right now, I'm not a fan of you. No.
Is Perplexity your Ben Affleck?
I've never thought of it that way. Is this the beginning of my villain arc? Is this the beginning of my villain arc? No, I didn't. Yeah, possibly.
You know, so I like that view and stuff of it. I'm a add to that and then step kind of to the right in a different lane and stuff here. I will say this. Quick question. Do we know, do Perplexity, do they use their own search engine, or are they using Google or Bing, or do we know?
Do they use their own?
Have they built their own?
Yeah, I thought they built their own search engine. Like they have their own like crawler or something like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna step into this lane. I think that this is going to become even more challenging for the small business owner, because the small business owner spent, to Adrian's point, a decade, getting their store search results on page 1, and now you have tools like from Microsoft, when they ask you, when Microsoft doesn't use Google search engine at all, they use Bing, and then when you're looking for places, they use Yelp, and stuff from that. And so now you're talking about Perplexity is going to be using their own everything, their own search engine, and then Google still has theirs. So now you have 3 different, areas where the small business owner has to figure out how to get their business in view. And so for that, I think this is going to start to mirror how social media platforms are now. From search engines, everything. And so literally business owners, creators, like where it may be, to get presence, you're going to have to do strategies and adjustments, everything per model, per platform, the same thing we do now with social media.
Yeah,
and I think it's definitely going to add a new level of complexity, for your everyday business owner who are simply just trying to keep the lights on, if you will. Which also too creates new jobs, because now you're going to have some agency that's going to tell you that we can get you at the top of those results. Each platform, each model, and something as well. And so, yeah, I think it has some pros and cons and stuff to it as well. But I think we're now on track to see models somewhat mirror how how social media platforms are, where basically to build an audience or to get recognition, you're gonna need a different strategy per platform.
Yeah, I think that actually might be good for our show to get like someone that works in the SEO space on here to talk about what they're experiencing firsthand.
I know somebody.
I had a feeling you did.
Yeah. I know somebody.
But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like this is an area that's being completely turned upside down, which is, the thing that we're seeing even on the Google side with how they've integrated AI where like every result you make, every request you make, or just about every request you make will have some AI response to it that you have to kind of look at, which is like it's really pushing against their business model, right? And it's almost like they are promoting something that is decreasing the value of their own product or their largest product that brings in the most money for them. So it's really interesting. And now you have the fact that companies need to make sure that they can be, either scraped or there's deals set up with them. Is opening the door for small places like a Perplexity to make a deal with different companies to be able to scrape and get their information and things like that, to be integrated to shopping. So it's interesting. This is a big paradigm shift. There are new leaders that I feel like are going to emerge from this, whether it's going to be Perplexity or not. The fact that they're going for integration for doing this early, like I know there are people who use Perplexity. I use Perplexity a lot for a lot of different things, right? But like it's not mainstream, right? And the fact that they're going in this particular direction first without continue to build their base. We'll see if that's a successful or not play for them to make. But I don't know. I think we talked about this also like a year ago. Like, hey, there are a bunch of tools that are coming out that they're giving away for free. The free lunches will be gone at some point, so enjoy them while you got them.
And we talked about how long is it until we start getting ads in our chat GPT results?
Boom. Here we are.
Amazon's doing it already.
Amazon's doing it already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Doing it already.
What is that thing called? Rufus?
Yeah.
I like it. I like going to a place that I'm here for shopping and it's showing me shopping. Like that makes sense to me. Like I've come to your site with the intent to spend money and you are helping me to spend money. That's
but have the ads been targeted well?
Mine,
yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel like kinda. They're definitely in the right category, but it's never them at Amazon. I've never gone to the page and been like, "Ooh, I gotta have that." Never. I've always gone there with a purpose. You know what I mean? So that's not working for me. The homepage is not making me buy anything, but like I usually, go there with a purpose. But it would like pick up where you left off. You were just searching this last time.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they show ads, but they don't show really ads in this form. But I know TikTok algorithm.
TikTok.
Oh my god, bro! Like when they have somebody like promoting something or whatever, if you look at that TikTok shop page for more than 3 seconds, boy, you about to get some variations of that, and stuff. And it works pretty well.
TikTok wants me to buy these Crocs so bad. These Crocs.
I despise the. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the ads mixed in with the social media aspect of it. Because one is like, maybe I'm scrolling through the app, I'm looking at it, and then someone's saying something I think is, interesting, useful, but it's a sponsorship. Like it's like, I can't. It for me breeds distrust. Like, oh, this is the best treadmill ever. No, maybe I am looking for a treadmill, but I'm not going to believe you because of.
So wait, are you talking about like it's a paid sponsor or it's like an actual user promoting a treadmill?
I can't tell. I really can't tell the difference. And usually
it could be
like
both, and they don't always disclose either.
They don't always disclose, and that's probably the big thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's challenging. That happens on the YouTube side too, which I also like. If I see that, like I'm immediately flipping past it because like I didn't come there to shop. I came there to laugh at the memes. So I came for the memes, not for the treadmill.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man. Well, guys, man, we are now at our platinum level because now we've added Star Wars to that trilogy, along with our topics. Please subscribe. Man, today's show, fellas, man, was awesome. We had a conversation around AI agents in enterprise and where we see that world and stuff going. We've also talked about Ben Affleck's comment on where he see AIs in Hollywood. He don't think it will make a significant impact anytime soon. And then we went on and talked about the Beatles being nominated for a Grammy, which is an AI assistant song that has been created. And then from there, guys, we discussed Google's Gemini challenges. I'm talking about Google's Gemini experimental model and the benchmark status. It's quote unquote that it has surpassed capabilities of GPT-4 Omni. And then we closed out here with talking about the combination of artificial intelligence and e-commerce and everything with tools and solutions that's been built by Perplexity and Google. And so, fellas, man, it's been great, man. Give us some closing arguments, give us some closing statement stuff here.
Yeah. Be safe. Train your agents well.
be nice to your agents.
Be nice
to your agents.
This one day they may have some AGI. They might tell on you. So be nice to agents. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, systems get shut down. Well, guys, everything. Until next time, you can follow us here. You can say, for me, I am Marlon Avery on all platforms. Adrian?
You can follow me, Infamous Adrian, on Twitter, and Green _Lantern on TikTok.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm Sekou. You can follow me on Sekou the Wise One on TikTok, Twitch. And yeah, I think that's about it. Those two. So yeah.
And then we are AI with Friends, AI with Friends podcast on all platforms as well.
All right.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Appreciate